Guthix Rest is the absolute best food for a level 3 skiller. It heals 5 HP, you can sip it 4 times for a total of 20, and it can overheal you to up to 15, higher than any other food can. Not only that, but you can combo eat it with other food. It's incredibly useful, and while it may seem daunting to unlock, it's actually much easier than you would expect. Let's get started. We're going to need to get 4 quests done: Rune Mysteries, Druidic Ritual, Jungle Potion, and Shiloh Village. Additionally, we need to get part of the way through one small favor. You're going to need the following stats: 36 Agility, 25 Crafting, 18 Herb Lore, and 30 Smithing. But these stats are boostable, so feel free to start lower as long as you can boost to the right level. You probably know how to do these first 3 quests, and you're probably using Quest Helper anyways, so let's speed through them and get to the parts that are difficult on a level 3. Since I've already done these quests, I'll be demonstrating on an alt account. I'm going to use every method a level 3 skiller would use. Additionally, this account has 10 HP, 1 defense, and I won't be using prayer. Let's start nice and easy. Rune Mysteries. You start in Lumbridge and talk to the Duke on the 2nd floor. He sends you to the Wizard Tower. The fastest way to get here is with a Necklace of Passage. Go down to the basement and talk to Archmage Cedrador. He sends you to Aubrey and Varrock. He's the guy that sells runes. You talk to him, he sends you back to the Wizard's Tower, and then you're done. Yay, you've unlocked everyone's favorite skill, Runecraft. Isn't it funny that the Duke gives you this quest and you never have to tell him what's up? Next up is another easy one, Druidic Ritual. You need raw bear meat, raw rat meat, raw beef, and raw chicken. You speak to Kakimex? Kakimix? Kakimex?
What's up?
Hey Shelby, how do you say the name of the guy that gives you the Druidic Ritual quest?
I don't know how to say that.
Okay, that's fine. Talk to you later. And he sends you to Sandview. He tells you to take the meat down into the Cauldron of Thunder. You dip the meat in the cauldron and go back to Sandview, and then to the other guy whose name I totally know how to say. You may want to bring some cooked food with you on your way to the cauldron because there's some low-level enemies that will attack you. And now you've unlocked everyone's other favorite skill, Herb Lore. Up next is Jungle Potion. This one is a little bit harder, but you should be fine. Make sure you have some anti-poison with you, some stamina pots, and some food. Chocolate cake is a good, easy-to-get food. Summer pies are also nice because they heal you to full and restore some run energy. You're going to run around to 5 different spots, pick up 5 different herbs, and bring them back to Trufitus. Here's a map of the 5 different spots. Sometimes the herbs take a while to harvest. The speed is based on your herb lore level, and if you've just unlocked the skill, then it's probably pretty low. This quest is pretty easy, but there's a few enemies you have to be on the lookout for: Jokers, Harpy bug swarms, and Tribesmen. The max hit of the Jokers is 7, and the Tribesmen can poison you. You pick this herb, this herb, this herb, this herb, and this herb, and talk to Trufitus after each one. That's 3 quests done already. Next we have Shiloh Village, which is going to be the hardest one we do, but even this one can be made very easy. However, you will want an alt or a friend that can venom things for you. This is the only quest where being a skiller changes how you do the quest, and is the primary reason I made this guide, so I'll go into more detail from this point on. You need a spade, a lit torch or candle, a rope, bronze wire, chisel, and 3 regular bones. Make sure you don't accidentally bury one. You'll also want to bring anti-poison, stam pots, and food again, and this time you need a cursed goblin hammer and 2 inventory spaces. If you'd like, you can bring extra food on your alt. You'll also want some teleports, ideally to Taibowane. If you want to use this teleport, you'll need to finish Taibowane Trio. Be aware that after Taibowane Trio, if you ever speak to Tamayu in the spear shop, he will give you a lot of combat XP. Head down to Shiloh Village and speak to Mosol Ray. He gives you a wampum belt to take to Trufitus back in Taibowane. He's going to send you off to look for a temple, which is over here. You use your spade on the mound of earth, use your light source on the fissure, and use your rope on the fissure, and then climb down. Down here are some undead ones, which can hit up to 8, so be ready for that. Head south and use a chisel on the strange-looking stone to get the stone plaque. Go west past the column and crawl through the cave-in. Head north until you reach the ruined buildings. Look for the loose rocks and find the tattered scroll. Head southeast and search the sacks for a crumpled scroll, and then head north to the gallows. Search them and get the Zatimus corpse. Read the scrolls and the plaque and use all 3 of those items on Drudic as well as the corpse. He will instruct you to bury the corpse. If you used custom menu swaps to remove the bury option, you'll need to turn that off. Don't worry, burying the corpse won't give you prayer XP, and you can turn the plugin back on right after that. The spirit of Zadium will appear and give you a bone shard. Take the bone shard to Drudic, and he will send you to Bervivia's tomb. You now need 3 empty inventory slots. Head down to Carn Isle and cross the bridge. You can fall off this bridge and take damage, but if you click Investigate on the well-stacked rocks and open up the Combat Achievements tab, you can avoid falling. Search the rocks and enter the crawlway. Head south and search the dolmen to get a sword pommel, a locating crystal, and Bervivia's notes. Read the scroll, use a chisel on the pommel to make bone beads, and then use the bronze wire on the beads to make beads of the dead. If you drop the locating crystal, you will take up to 10 damage, so try not to do that. When you leave out the way you came in, you can take 10 damage, so consider tallying out. Next, we're going to head to the tomb of Rashilia. Be careful around the Shaikahan, as it can hit up to 9 on you. Come to this spot and search the palm tree. You'll see the entrance. Use your chisel on the bone shard to make a key and equip the beads of the dead, then use your key on the door. You may want to use an alt to tank the undead ones inside. Run southwest to these doors and use the bones on the door. Again, be sure not to bury them accidentally, especially if you turned off the plugin earlier. Now we search the dolmen and fight Nazastarul. This is going to be much easier than you would expect, as you can have your alt attack the boss. Ideally, you'll want them to venom the boss, and then you attack once with your Cursed Goblin Hammer. Let the venom kill it. You have to do this for 3 different forms. You can hide on the far side of the dolmen and you'll be totally safe. You never need to damage the boss directly. You can hit a 0, and as long as you get the last hit in, you get credit. The venom hit doesn't count and won't steal credit from you. After defeating the boss, you can tally out. Go back to the tomb on Carn Isle. Don't forget the trick to cross the bridge, and use Rashilia's remains on the dolem. Rashilia will appear and you've completed the quest. Up next is everyone's favorite quest, One Small Favor. This quest has 2 fights that might be difficult. Luckily, you don't need to do either one to unlock Guthix Rest, but I will show you how to do them in case you want to finish. You're going to need a bowl of hot water. This can be obtained by using a bowl on a sink and then on a stove. You'll also need 3 steel bars, a Harlander, 2 Guams, and a Marantil, and about 50 GP. If you want to finish the quest, then there's a lot more items you'll need, and luckily Quest Helper has them all listed. First, you go to Shiloh Village and you speak to Yanni. The easiest way to get to Shiloh Village is by taking the cart from Brimhaven. He asks you to get some logs from a forester south of the village. Leave the village and talk to a forester. They'll want you to take their blunt axe to get sharpened by Captain Shanks. Captain Shanks is to the west, and he'll tell you to go to Port Sarim to get the axe sharpened. You can buy a ticket to Port Sarim from Shanks for about 50 GP. Speak to Brian in the axe shop. He's worried about his friend, but will take an axe from you if you agree to help his friend. Next, you talk to Aggie the Witch in Draenor. You can either run there or use a glory. Ask Aggie to be a witness, and she'll ask you to find Jimmy the Chisel for her. Jimmy is in the Hem hideout. Pick the lock to get inside. You will be sent to see Fred the Farmer for chickens. Fred the Farmer is the guy who gives you the sheep shearer quest. He'll send you across the river to Seth Groats. Seth will then send you to Horvik, the guy who sells armor in Varrock Square. You can teleport to Varrock with the teletab. Horvik will take your steel bars and ask you to head to the apothecary in southwest Varrock. The apothecary will ask you for an airtight pot and will give you an herbal tincture. If you don't intend on finishing the quest, you can just drop this. Head to Barbarian Village and speak to Tassie Slipcast. She'll send you to Hammerspike Stoutbeard. Hammerspike is in the northwestern part of the Dwarven Mine. Hammerspike tells you that he wants to be a druid. Head to Taverley and speak with Sandview, who is upstairs in this building, and he wants you to bring a Guthix Rest to Captain Bleemage, the gnome on top of White Wolf Mountain. Grab an empty teacup from the building north of Sandview, add the hot water to it, add the Harlander, 2 Guam leaves, and a Marantil, and that's your Guthix Rest. If you do want to continue the quest, you basically just go on as normal, so I'm not going to fully explain every step of the quest, but there's 2 fights that you have to tackle slightly differently, and I'll quickly go over those. In each case, you're going to be using Poison Dynamite, and ideally, you'll have Venge other alts as well. When you reanimate the Sligalith, you'll want your best gear for poison dynamiting, but you'll want to hold a pickaxe so you can do full damage. The Sligalith is weak to crush, so you can use this setup. I went in my range gear and it went totally fine. The Sligalith can hit up to 13, so you'll want Guthix Rest for this fight. You can safe spot the Sligalith by standing on this tile. This will let you use the poison dynamite, then you can step back, heal, and recoil it down until it dies. If you don't kill it fast enough, it'll despawn and you'll have to start again, so I highly recommend having ults there to cast Venge Other on you. Later on, you'll have to defeat 3 dwarves. You can de-aggro them by leaving the room. Additionally, you can leave to get more supplies between each kill. If you do this, you'll want to tag each dwarf in Runelight after you kill it and it respawns, so when you come back you know which ones you've already killed. I wondered why the dwarves didn't aggro me, and it turns out I needed to talk to Hammerspike once again, which I didn't do until after I killed all 3, so I had to do them all again. But I found you can safe spot them on this corner here, as well as venom the dwarves on another account. After you've successfully gotten all 3 and spoken to Hammerspike again, then you just have to do the rest of one small favor. And that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoy your Guthix rest. Good luck with questing, and I am very proud of you.